What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Yankees Avenue Show on the Yankees Avenue YouTube channel. As usual, I'm Patrick Hennessy. That's Dan Rourke. Dan, how we doing today?
I'm doing good, man, but I'm a little sad that I'm not next to you in person right now. I feel like we set the bar so high for that. It's going to be different doing a show like this remote again, but yo, I'm doing good. Yankees aren't doing good. What else is new? I have COVID in 2023, but I'm feeling fine. I'm chilling, ready to go. It's a weird feeling though. Common cold, it feels like. I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, it sucks not being in person, I will say. And I feel like we set the bar so high for ourselves. It's like every episode now after that, I'm gonna want to be in person, have like the cool microphones and the cool studio and be right next to each other. Because it also changes the dynamic entirely too. But
Totally.
I think what we learned from episode 100, and also if you guys haven't seen it, go back and watch it, is that the in-person episodes are definitely something we're going to pursue more moving forward. 1,000%.
We were talking a little behind the scenes here. If we can try to get out to do it maybe once a month at least, dirty ass fly. Hella bugs in my room lately. But yo, we can do out like get out once a month to do that, the minimum. I mean, like,
Yeah.
bro, like I really had the itch for it now after we first started it up. So I'm with you,
No, I
dog.
know.
A lot more in the future.
Um, but yeah, we have a lot to talk about today. It's going to be a fun episode. Before we get into anything, though, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, FOCO. Use code Yankees Avenue at checkout. Save 15% off, bro. Okay, or sniff it. Yeah, okay.
I
But
wear these every day, Pat. Every day. I was at Barnes and Noble before and Best Buy, and I was just like browsing around doing my thing in my Crocs. And I'm like, man, I hope people see my feet right now because I look pretty clean. Thanks to Foco. Shout out to them.
yeah, cool. Let's get into topic number one, Dan. Let's talk about Brian Cashman, a guy I feel like we talk about just about every episode at this point. But he met with the media amidst the Yankees' losing streak. They dropped 2-3 to the Nationals. They are now 61 and 66, 5 games under 500. And what he said to the media is he basically called the season a disaster, and I quote, "We'll all be evaluated, including myself." Based on his press conference, did this do anything for you, or what Brian Cashman said? It kind of just feel like a repetition of everything we've heard over the past couple years.
Kind of more so towards the latter. I mean, the first thing I want to say is the initial reaction on social media when after this interview came out was people saying, wow, Cashman's being surprisingly accountable. My first thought there is, I mean, how could he not be? What is he going to come out and say? Like, oh, no, I did a great job this year, but the team just happens to be 61 and 66. Like, no, what else is he going to say? It's been a disaster of a season. So that's what he's going to label it as. And some of the quotes are interesting. You know, the one that you mentioned, we're all going to be evaluated. I mean, if we didn't know already, I mean, it's quite obvious. Cashman isn't going anywhere. What's going to end up happening is we've talked about it a lot. It's going to be Boone as a scapegoat. And I think what's more important is what happens after that. What comes with that? Is it a replacement of the analytics team, a replacement of the strength and conditioning coaches? I mean, I think top to bottom for the most part outside. I mean, I include Cashman. I think he should be gone, but I don't think he's going anywhere. So everybody below him, I think, and this is the role of House Steinbrenner to really get involved this offseason is, yo, we got to clean house as much as possible. Even if that means, yeah, you keep Brian Cashman around, boo. But even if so, clean house, top or bottom, under him. There was one quote that really stuck out to me, which is quite ridiculous and kind of like the. Let me just read it first. So he goes, courtesy of the New York Post, by the way, highlighted. He goes, I don't think anybody on this planet entering or leaving spring training believed this wasn't a playoff contending team. I certainly didn't. At the same time, shit happens, and a lot of it happened, and it's on our hands. So he throws like a little throw in line there of, yeah, saying nobody thought this would happen. And then he closes out trying to be accountable. But that makes no sense to me because while, yes, maybe we didn't think we'd bottom out and finish in last place. Everybody, including me and you and 99% of the fan base knew that come October, the result would be the same. So even though we're bottoming out way more than we may have thought we were going to, the result was going to be the same, that we weren't winning the World Series. We weren't probably even making the World Series. We are probably going to get bounced by the ALCS at the latest, right? So no matter what, this team was set up to fail. It just happened to be much worse than we thought it would be. And yeah, entirely falls on Brian Cashman. He can be as accountable as he wants, but no shit, you should be accountable. It all falls on you. That's how it works.
Yeah. I think everything that we've heard from the press conference, it did kind of feel like much of the same. But the one thing that I did find a little bit shocking, I guess we could call it, is the fact that Brian Cashman coming out and basically calling the season a failure, right? A complete disaster in the month of August. It's kind of crazy because usually we get press conferences like these after the Yankees get eliminated in the postseason, and we always get oh, it wasn't a disaster of a season. The season wasn't a complete failure. But now the fact that it's August and he has to come out and kind of officially say that, it says a lot. And I agree with what you said in terms of, I don't think it's Cashman being accountable as much as it is kind of setting up the precedent for Aaron Boone being fired as the scapegoat. And when he says that everyone's going to be evaluated, including himself, I think it just kind of goes back to what I said. Like, Aaron Boone is going to be evaluated as being the problem for the 2023 Yankees. And we all know I'm not the biggest Boone guy, but I don't think that the 2023 the failure of the 2023 season is his fault whatsoever. But it's interesting because now I was watching the game on what's today? I was watching
Thursday
one of the
today.
Nationals games.
Mhm.
And there was a chant, I believe, after the CJ Abrams home run. And bro, fire Cashman. And it was so loud to the point where it's like I've never heard a negative chant that loud, a negative Yankees chant that loud in Yankee Stadium in my life. And it's kind of just preparing me a little bit more for September 22nd, which we talked about last episode, which is apparently for, Fire Cashman night. And I'm just intrigued to see where this goes at this point, because at the end of the day, the only person who can hold Brian Cashman accountable is Hal Steinbrenner. That's kind of the only person above the totem pole. And if Hal doesn't want to hold him accountable, Yankee fans will. And I just don't know if Yankee fans holding Cashman accountable is enough to get him fired. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting. But as of right now, bro, it's like the Yankees are kind of forcing Hal Steinbrenner's hand here.
Well, yeah, I mean, and also I think it's if you're going to keep Cashman around, we talk about how Brian's essentially a part of the family, the Steinbrenner family. Well, there's going to have to be some tough love because it's not just about, I'm very concerned about 2024, right? That there may not be that much of a difference. We might be headed for another season similar to 2023 next year as well. That's not even the concern here. You're giving Brian Cashman another opportunity by keeping him around to be the guy to fix this. Now, technically in the past, he's done that well. If there's one thing I'll give him credit for in my Yankee fandom tenure is, after 2016, he did set us up perfectly. It's how he handled it, how he handled it afterwards and what the moves he made following setting us up after 2016. That's where he really went wrong. But you're now giving Cashman a chance to not only try to fix it for next year, but forget that, bro. This determines the next 5 years of this franchise because that's really what you're looking at. I mean, I don't think the Yankees, as much as I would like them to, they're not going to do a total overhaul this offseason in terms of having like a 2013 winter, a 2009 winter where they spend $500 million. I don't think that's coming. So going to be interesting, man. It's really going to be interesting. If you continue to give Cashman the keys to this beautiful Ferrari, as we always call it, like you're really going to have some tough love and let him know, all right, you may be sticking around, but the way things are going, it's not going to stay this way. We got to make changes below you.
Yeah. And I think that kind of just like poses the question once again, like, do we think there's any chance he gets fired after the season?
I don't. No, I really don't. Especially hearing him yesterday, you could just tell like
There's
he's
kind of
right
like
there.
a little arrogance behind
I
him,
think so too. I think that's what it is for me. That's what I mean. Yeah, like you could almost tell Brian Cashman knows in the back of his head he's not going anywhere, which may just come from the job security. I mean, Hal Steinbrenner is not going to fire somebody after 1 year, so probably it was always a pipe dream for us to think that he might be going. It's going to be Boone, dude. We know that's going to happen. I mean, I think Boone also knows that himself. You can kind of see. I feel like he's been a little bit more lighthearted the past few days, and that might be because he knows he's out the door come season's end. I mean, what do you really have to lose at that point? But yeah, one more thing I'll say on it too. As for him admitting, kind of like waving the white flag, what choices he really have, especially when you called up the kids too, because that essentially was what waving the white flag without saying it. And yeah, the accountability was obvious. He had to do it. He had
Yeah,
to.
I also like waving the white flag. I'm not gonna lie, after the Yankees won that second game of the Nat series, bro, I kind of got like a little bit excited, as
Totally,
did
dude.
many Yankee fans. I placed a $10 bet on the Yankees to win the American League. And if it hits, I'm winning $2,500. So just throwing that out there. If it happens, I will treat you and I to the most fancy dinner in the city of New York.
Dog, if it happens, I'll treat you to a dinner too. That might be the thing I respect you the most for, what you just told me. You just put a $10 bet on the Yankees to win the American League
I
on
did,
August
yeah.
24th, 2023, or in late
Yeah.
August, whatever day you did it.
Yeah,
That
I
is,
did. Yeah.
you know
You
what,
could
dude?
pop the ticket on the screen. Yeah.
Honestly, bro, all the respect I lost you for the Philly bandwagon crap this playoffs, you might have just gained half of it back with that. Respect you. Oh,
Thank you.
real quick, I want to say on that, man. I'm so easily suckered back in. I mean, I kind of got away from that after the Miami series and the Braves series, all that, but it reeled me in for a minute. I started to think, okay, we had a 9-game losing streak. We're probably done. But what's the way you could reverse that? A 9-game winning streak or a 10-game winning streak, which technically is still possible. But as Cashman said, I mean, even though you're mathematically in it, like you're done. So
Bro,
it
they gotta
quickly,
go like what 38-6
yeah,
or something.
yeah, dude. And it's like, but it's I will say though, and this is a nice feeling because something I've always wondered was like, man, how will I react and follow a Yankee season that where they truly bottom out or like they're truly just not involved? This is the first time that has happened. And I'm pleased to say I still find enjoyment in the games. I mean, I had a blast on Wednesday night's game with Judge, obviously the 3-homer game, which we'll talk about. Stanton making nice plays, Sevy pitching well. We'll talk about that as well. But the good moments I still can enjoy, even if we're not in contention. Like I was rooting hard today in the series finale. Sucks they lost, but like when Bader had that ball off the bat, but I thought may have had a chance of going on, I was screaming. I was as if we were still in contention. I was, and I'm glad to still be feeling like raw emotion, even though we're this far
No,
out
it's
of it.
nice.
Yeah,
You know what else is nice? Your new haircut.
thank you. No, I appreciate that. It was time to get one. I'll let everybody in on my little insecure secret. The first 3 days of having a haircut, I cannot stand the way I look because I feel like I look like a 12-year-old. However, once it comes in a little bit, then my takes get even better, bro. I come in next, or give me 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks fresh off a haircut. I guarantee you, it won't be a coincidence that my takes suddenly improve by like 50%.
Is that a super cut?
No, but it might as well be because it's
Oh.
sports clips, which
Oh, same thing, I
so a
guess.
chain,
Right.
right? It's a
Yeah.
chain, which I didn't get the MVP, so I didn't get the full sports clips experience. That's like they give you a massage, they take you in the back room like to do all this stuff. Not for real. They like give you a hot towel, they give you the massage gun, whatever. Don't do anything else weird, but
Sure.
I didn't do that. I just went for the haircut, but they charged me the exact same. $40 for a chain haircut's a little much. I mean, I'm not
That is
stingy with
wild.
that, but
No, that's
for
fine.
a chain haircut, that's a little weird.
I would expect maybe like $10. I'm just throwing that out there.
$20, I feel like, and then you give a
Sure.
$10 tip, 30. Like that's usually I usually expect to spend $30 on a haircut, especially when I go into a chain. But
Yeah,
that's
no, that
that.
is a lot. Let's get into topic number 2. Aaron Judge recorded his first ever 3-home run game on Wednesday night, including the 5th grand slam of his career. Shout out to Aaron Judge. He also went deep in the series finale. He has 28 home runs in 73 games this season. Absolutely unreal. But Dan, I have like a little game. We haven't
Give
really
me a
played too many
game,
games on the
dude.
show, but
No, we
this
don't
is a
play games enough, bro. Let's play games.
so tell me and also let us know in the comments. What do you think is more likely over the next 3 years? Option 1, Aaron Judge breaks his own record with 63 home runs. Or option 2, the Yankees end their World Series drought.
If you would have asked me this at the beginning of the season, I think I would have chosen B, that they get to the World Series. But for the fact of, I do
Well,
think we're headed in for a
when we
little.
say drought, do we mean make the World Series or win the World Series?
I think make, but in this case, it's the exact same. At least for my
Okay.
answer, I don't think it's they're
Okay.
gonna. If I had to pick an option here, and the reason is I won't go back to the whole Cashman thing. I think we are headed for, at least expectations wise, a little retool over the next couple of years. So with that said, and for the fact of he's really freaking good and he's pretty much on pace for it this year if he were healthy, I'm thinking Judge hit 63. I think it's a legitimate possibility. Look at the numbers. So right now, Judge, 28 home runs in 73 games. Extrapolate that over 696 plate appearances, which is what he had last year. 62.7 is the pace he's currently on. Now, of course, like things could be different next year. I'm not saying he's going to repeat history for essentially pace wise would be the 3rd straight season, but I wouldn't rule it out at all. And for the fact of, I don't think the Yankees next 3 years, or at least next couple years, are going to be that much to look forward to. As of right now, I think I'm going to take Judge. And not only because of the question, I legitimately might predict it. Like, I would be shocked we hit 63. We see him hit 63.
I
Or
agree.
flirt with it at least. At
Yeah,
the
I
very
think if you
least.
Yeah, I think if you would have asked me before the season, I easily would have went with B, the Yankees ending their World Series drought. But just based on this season, and how I think it's probably going to be a while until we do see that World Series drought, just because heading into the offseason, heading into next year, like I don't see things getting that much better that quickly. So I think one thing that will remain a constant though is the greatness of Aaron Judge and the fact to see what he's doing at 70, 80%, whatever he's at, to think that he's going to be coming into next season fully healthy, and let's knock on wood that he doesn't have any injuries next year. I think that it's definitely possible that he outdoes his 2022 season. It's crazy to think, but it's definitely more possible at this point than I think the Yankees winning the World Series next year. And if this was a question even for just next season, what's more likely? I think the answer is still Aaron Judge breaking his own record. But regardless, I think it kind of just goes to show more than the greatness of Aaron Judge. I think the more important thing here is the disastrous state of the New York Yankees.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally. And I don't want to put out like too much of a bad vibes that they're like, oh, the Yankees will never win a World Series again in the next 3 or 5 years. But yeah, with that said, I think there's obviously still like a chance, of course. I mean, if you were to go back to once again 2016, we didn't think we'd be back to ALCS Game 7 the next season. Not that that's what we're shooting for, but weirder things could happen. It's baseball and things could click very quickly. I do want to real quick talk about just the overall season Judge is having. I mean, the OPS is at 1.057 in a year. All of a sudden, I guess because he's been injured, that not many people are talking about, but he's been better than last year, dude. At least what he was at this point, 73 games in. His OPS 73 games in 2022 was 1.026. Right now, yeah, 1.057. He's hitting the ball harder. He's walking more. I mean, dude, if there's one thing we're sure about, along with the fact that Garrett Cole's a stud, Aaron Judge is the best hitter in baseball. So we at least got that going for us, which is nice. I mean, that's another reason we talk about why you should turn on the Yes Network and watch these games. There's not many reasons to. Judge is one of them. And I think that's part of why I can still. And dude, did you notice the stadium wasn't that empty this series? It really wasn't. I thought.
No, I know.
No, and even today, dude, on the series finale, a day game getaway, Wednesday or Thursday afternoon, the least sold crowd, but it was still, the bleachers were pretty much packed. And I think because technically they're still stars, like people look forward to, seeing a Judge bullet home run. Giancarlo Stanton is still capable of running into an absolute missile. And, Cole, a couple other reasons, maybe, sure. But yeah, I was surprised by how many fans are still in the stands at this point in the season.
It was interesting. I can't say that I'm happy about it. But I think that's a little bit more. We'll get a little bit deeper into it in topic number 4. But before we get in topic number 3, want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, FOCO. Use code Yankees Avenue at checkout, 15% off. Dan, show off those little clogs.
Yeah.
Once again.
What do you call them? Clogs?
Clogs.
They're Crocs, dude.
No, they're
not officially.
That's
Crocs,
actually trademarked. Yeah.
True. Well, let me just say, FOCO, if you want some of the Yankee logo on it, they most certainly do have it, because I never really had shoes with the Yankee iconic logo on it before.
Yeah,
I thought that was I thought that was the one article of clothing I may just be beat on the rest of my life. You got hats, I got shirts, shorts now. Get me some more. But now I got Crocs too, and they're nice. So bottom line is, if you want to get decked out in Yankee gear or Jets or Giants gear, once again, football is coming up, go to FOCO and use code Yankees Avenue, 15% off, because it keeps the light on around here. Lights, plural. It could help me and Pat get back into a studio again once per month we're shooting for. So helps you guys out, helps us out, helps FOCO out too. They're good people. They've done us good.
Yeah, and bro, rumor has it, just a rumor, they might be having like a back to school sales. That's a rumor I've heard. I don't know.
Bro, does it click in your head still a little bit like, back to school is coming even though we're out of school now?
Yeah, I can't relate though.
Really? Well, I mean, I'm not in school, so I can't relate either. But that was part of the haircut. It's like, oh shit, end of August, I gotta clean up with the trim, so I'm ready to go for September. But what am I ready to go for?
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think going into the fall months, you need to have like a little bit of newness to you. I think I might get a haircut soon as well.
Yeah. What are you looking at? Pull off the hat. What are we working with?
No.
Hey, I respect it. I never take my hat off. You've probably been wearing that all day, haven't you?
Yeah. Also, okay, bro, can I just say one thing? I have the sickest sunburn. I will not. That's another thing. I will not be showing you guys right now. I showed Dan before we
showed me, bro, with this whole ass shirt off.
I have the meanest sunburn right now. And the thing is, I didn't even go to the beach. I didn't go like out anywhere. I was basically just going for a walk, bro, with a tank top on. I am absolutely demolished. You know what? I think I'm just too white to be outside.
Well, that's part of it. Too white to be outside without sunscreen. Trust me, I've learned that lesson many times over. But let's clarify something for the people. You weren't just going for a walk, which is why I was so shocked at first when you showed me the sunburn, because it just came from a walk. No, dog was out there for 3 hours, he told me. I mean, you might as well have been to the beach. Like, if I go to the beach for 3 hours without sunscreen, bro, I mean, I'm literally Larry the Lobster.
Because I'm moving, so it's not a problem. But it is still.
That's something, bro, I try to, like, rationalize. That reminds me, bro, when I'm, like, at the beach, I'm in the water. I'm like, oh, well, I'm in the water, so I don't really need the sunscreen. It's not going to actually get me. And then I come home, and I'm all sorts of red. But, yeah. Hey, I was telling Pat, let me know if you guys agree with this. I was telling him, you're better off with a painful sunburn than an itchy sunburn. An itchy sunburn, please comment down below for anybody who's had, like, I want to say severe, but yours is borderline severe. I don't want to get too into it, bro, but you have like a blisters and shit on your shoulder. But I'll say I'd rather have a painful sunburn, which neither are the ideal options. They both suck. But an itchy sunburn, bro. Ooh.
Okay. Let us know.
Aloe vera. Get aloe vera, dude.
Yeah, I guess.
Want me to rub some on your back? Just kidding. That's not my job. Get a girlfriend, dude. We both should get one, actually. That's probably a good idea.
Topic number 3, Dan. Let's talk about the Yankees prospects a little bit. They called up Everson Pereira, which is kind of annoying because they did it just a few hours after we recorded on Monday. It always works out like that. But they also called up Oswald Peraza. Austin Wells could be coming up soon. But I think the main storyline from the Yankees just bringing the kids up slowly is that Jasson Dominguez, top prospect at this point. Jasson Dominguez, right?
He's actually no longer number 1, believe it or not. You know who is?
Who?
I want you to guess. It's not Pereira. He's number 3. Jasson is number 2. Who's number 1?
Not Peraza.
No. So Peraza's off now because he's had too many big league at bats. Give you one more guess.
One prospect.
He is a recent draftee.
Austin Wells?
Year. No, Austin Wells is not. He's number 6, I believe. It's Spencer Jones. According to MLB Pipeline, is Yankees' number 1 prospect. Now, he's furthest away because he's in high A. But, dude, like, just from my eye test, and, I'm no scat or nothing, but that computes in my brain. I feel like Spencer Jones has the most hype behind him, so I'm pumped about that. But, yeah, Dominguez is number 2.
Yeah, so Dominguez was promoted to AAA, 3 hits in his AAA debut. I think it's kind of a big deal just seeing him rise through the ranks so quickly. He's 20 years old. How soon until you think we see him in the big leagues?
Yeah, well, first things first, he got off to a horrible start in AA, which really had some people like kind of in their head at least plummeting his value because remember, he had a great spring training. And some people were even saying this was probably quite far-fetched, but they're like, yo, put him on because the Volpe talk, I think, led into this. Yeah. People were like, yo, put him on the big league roster come opening day because he had a great spring. Of course, the answer to that was no. Yankees sent him down to AA, and he wasn't hitting, but since the start of July, dude had an 850 OPS in AA. The OBP was above 400, was starting to hit for power. They promoted him at AAA. First game, 3 balls hit over 105 miles an hour, had 3 RBIs as well. And yeah, dude, I mean, once you're at AAA, you're kind of really on the fast track to the majors. Now, I don't think it's going to happen this year. And Brian Cashman was asked about that the other day. It's not going to happen. Wells will be up September 1st, though. But I'm thinking we might see him get the Volpe treatment in spring training next year. Like, I think if he comes out, he shows up and balls out and has a Volpe-esque spring, enough to where, like, okay, this dude can clearly hit and handle himself at a big league level, at least spring training, if he can show that. He'll be in the conversation. I don't think, though, he'll make the team out of camp. Probably an easy take to have. I apologize. I'll say at the latest, not the latest, a legitimate prediction, I think May 1st, 2024, Jasson Dominguez is in the big leagues by May 1st.
I think that's fair. The only thing that scares me a little bit about that is that, yes, I would love Jasson Dominguez to be the Yankees opening day left fielder or center fielder, because, I mean, we're not going to have a center fielder either going in next season. But It scares me a little bit that maybe we'll rely a little bit too much on him, kind of like how we've relied a little bit too much on Volpe, and that prevents the Yankees from going out and getting any middle infielders. I don't want them to go into this offseason being like, oh, we have Dominguez and Pereira to be able to play the outfield next season. We don't have to go out and worry about any outfielders. Because like we said, like, bro, Dominguez is 20 years old. There's going to be rookie struggles when he first comes up. It's going to be basically identical, if not worse, than Volpe's. And he's far from a sure thing at this point, especially start off the 2024 season. I think it would be fair if they started him next year in AAA, and then maybe they evaluate maybe June 1st, July 1st, towards like the second half of the season a little bit. But I think everything we've seen, I'd be shocked if he's not in the big leagues at some point next season.
Yeah, no, totally. And now that you mention it, it sparks a little idea in my head because, I want to compete next year. And part of my tentative offseason plan, you could sign Cody Bellinger. Harrison Bader's probably going to walk. You get Bellinger, play him in center field. Let's just say you get a center fielder. Part of a retool, you try to compete while also establishing youth. Maybe you have a competition for left in spring training, Pereira and Dominguez, labeled as that. You do those two, and you could even, if you wanted to, Austin Wells, you could factor that conversation as well. Although he's a catcher, many have said he probably projects better as a corner outfielder. You could kind of have a nice mix of 2017ing it a little bit where, you're going in, trying out the kids, and mostly it probably leans a little bit more towards rebuilding on the scale. But remember, like, going into that season, we still signed Aroldis Chapman to big money. They got Matt Holliday. They were still trying to contend. Of course, they ended up doing so. I'm really looking at next year as a very similar to like a 2017 S type season. So put money into the team while still bringing up the youth. That could be the most interesting storyline at a camp, going into camp, I mean, is if you had a Pereira versus Dominguez spring training battle, that'd be pretty hype, man. So
I
think that may be the move, but I'll stick to my prediction May 1st. But I say that not factoring in hopefully any service time crap, which the more and more I think about it and like just read about it, like that should never be a conversation, the service time thing. Because why are you so worried about getting or losing an extra year of control? Like Volpe, for example, and they didn't do this. They started him. Good for them. One of the few good decisions they've made in recent years. Because if you were to leave Volpe off the roster till end of April, like, all right, you may get that extra year control, but by the time you're thinking about offering him that extra year control, like you should know if it's a sure thing or not, so you know if you want to lock that player up long term. So you know what I mean? That makes sense.
Well, what's the deal with Volpe? Because wasn't there a thing where it's like, it doesn't matter when you call a player up if they finish like top 3 in Rookie of the Year voting or something like that?
Yeah, which I don't think he'll end up doing, or maybe I mean, shit, honestly,
because
I might
if
check
he
that
does
before the end of
finish
the
top
show.
3, then what happens with the service
it's top
time?
2, I believe. So if it's top 2, well, Volpe doesn't make a difference anyways because he started up opening day, so he doesn't have to worry about this. But let's talk Dominguez next year. So say Dominguez doesn't come up until the end of April, and the Yankees do that to get an extra year of service time. If he finishes in the top 2 of that of AL Rookie of the Year, then he gains a full year of service time for the season, which would then mean that extra year at the end is like canceled out. Bottom line is my point was all about like, yo, why are you worried about an extra year at the end when by then you'll know if this is a player you want to keep long term?
Yeah,
you're the Yankees, just sign him. You know. But
no, yeah, I
Dominguez, it's the Yankees prospect system, farm system is something to be excited about. Like there are guys on the cusp that are getting closer to big leagues that like you can go past it. I mean, like Drew Thorpe, maybe one of the best pitching prospects in baseball right now. Dude is absolutely shoving the minor leagues. Leads all. He was a 2nd round pick in last year's draft. He destroyed single A. He's already been promoted to double A. Overall in the year, he's like 12-2 with a 2.6. Leads all minor league pitchers in strikeouts. Drew Thorpe, last year, 2nd round pick. This dude's a stud. And you got Ben Rice. I think it's Ben Rice, I believe. Who's just raking at every single level, hitting like 360 in double A. He may be on a fast track now all of a sudden. Talked about Wells. I mean, there's guys now, particularly on the cusp of becoming big leaguers, which is why it makes it more exciting. I mean, like a couple of years ago, you could look at like some of their prospects. I feel like they were always in like single A. I mean, even like, like Roderick Arias, by the way, Roderick Arias, guy they signed, like he's slated as like a top 5 Yankee prospect, I believe, but his ETA is not till 2027. Like he's not tangible enough for me to get excited about.
Because he's like 17, I think.
No, exactly. And like those prospects, you're so far away. Like Jasson, even at an early age, I couldn't get that excited about. But now that he's getting that point, like a lot more of the prospects are, it's something you can get excited about.
Yeah. My whole thing with Dominguez always was like, yo, wake me up when he's in double A. And now he's in triple A. Now it really feels real. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and now we're getting to the point because he is on the cusp of the big leagues. Once he gets there and he starts lighting the world on fire, we might be getting a lot of clips taken from the Yankees Avenue Show where I called for trading him for Brian Reynolds, which, I'm down to be wrong about that.
Same, yeah.
Doesn't mean I was even wrong. I mean, who knows? Maybe the Yankees got Brian Reynolds this offseason. Maybe they won the fucking World Series this year. I don't know. Hell, they probably do.
Yeah.
But,
Let's get into topic number 4. Let's talk about Luis Severino. He finally turned in a good start on Tuesday against the Nats. 6 2/3, no earned runs. He walked off the mound to a standing ovation from Yankees fans. Were you able to appreciate this moment at all, or would you say your relationship with Sevy is kind of just damaged beyond repair at this point?
Completely honest, dude, I was able to appreciate the hell out of it, man. And I want to give a huge shout out to Yankee fans because my boy Bo tweeted this on Twitter or something to like and stuff, but he was basically saying Yankee fans get a lot of trash talk about them, that they're not loyal. And oftentimes we're accused of being fair weather fans, which if this season should prove anything, that is absolutely not true. I feel like Yankee fans might be the most invested fan base, honestly, in the sport. And I mean that sincerely. I think Yankee fans are awesome for this. After all the starts, they booed him, rightfully so, because, and Severino admitted this, he's been the worst pitcher in baseball. After all that, we're out of playoff contention. And in the end, you're only facing the Washington Nationals. It's not like he did this against Houston or anything. And he only struck out 2 batters, but 6 2/3, no runs. I think Yankee Stadium knew this might be the last time we have an opportunity to give Severino an ovation like this. And not that he's some 90s Yankee that deserves to be, like, he's not like Paul O'Neill getting that kind of treatment, being serenaded off in that way. But there is a slight appreciation, I think, for a guy who, for our generation at least, I mean, he was the shit for a couple years. And we kind of saw, I want to say, a flash of that greatness on Wednesday night because it wasn't exactly dominant. But in the end, 6 2/3 scoreless is 6 2/3 scoreless. Worthy of an ovation, and the fact that Sevy was like smiling his ears off, or smiling ear to ear, how's that work? Smiling ear to ear off the mound. That shit touched me, bro. I loved that. I really, really did. So I was able to appreciate it. I did. I don't want to say I was teary-eyed per se, but if there were a moment while we're 5 games under to make me teary-eyed, that may have been the closest thing. I enjoyed that a lot. I'm happy for Sevy.
Yeah, in typical me fashion, I
Take it
didn't.
away, bro. Fair enough. I get it.
It did absolutely nothing for me. I thought it was kind of dumb actually that he walked off the mound to a standing ovation.
I love him,
I
dude.
I look at it like this, right? We view Yankee fans as the cream of the crop in Major League Baseball, right? A fan base that prides themselves in being so knowledgeable and whatever. And cheering Luis Severino off the mound after one good start against the Washington Nationals when the season is essentially over, and he's had one of the most abysmal seasons by a pitcher in Yankees history, really. I think is just casual. I think it's super casual. Maybe if you're there at the stadium, it's a different feeling. Luis Severino is dead to me. I don't want to see him back next season. As a human being, I'm sure he's a great guy, bro. But as a pitcher, he has been a complete and utter failure. And I think that he's definitely a key reason why, like, the Yankees starting pitching has been so inconsistent over the past couple of years, just because they've relied on him year after year, and every single season there seems to be something, whether it's injuries or lack of performance or something. Luis Severino is not one of those guys who I will shed a tear when he pitches his last game as a New York Yankee.
No.
I'm disappointed to see how his tenure ended up working out after the sky high expectations and potentially he had from day one. But I don't think he's the type of guy where he deserves a standing ovation just because it's like, oh, it's nice to see him finally rebound. It's nice for sure, and I'm happy for him. But I can guarantee you, if I was there, I wouldn't be like standing up and clapping the dude off the mound.
So what would you do is my question. Are you booing? Are you just sitting
No, I'd
still?
sit there and be like, yo, it was a good start by Sevy.
All
You know
right,
what I
okay,
mean?
fair enough on that. I mean, I'll push back a little bit on just the way I feel about him. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, you could almost look at him as the main reason, one of the main reasons why this season has gone so array, for sure. But it's not like there's Carl Pavano like disasters and ones like Severino where it's just really unfortunate. Like, this dude cares so much about winning and was just dealt like blow after blow, injury wise. It sucks. It's unfortunate. And while I've like been very upset with him this year and displeased, it was never coming from a place of like questioning his desire to win. That's where I kind of reserve my boos, is that. And guys who are just jackasses. Like Josh Donaldson is a player I would boo. Joey Gallo is not one of them. And I think this goes back to last year too, where Yankee fans do have a softer side of them at times where they will try to boost you up. I mean, they were cheering on Joey Gallo last year at points. Like they were trying to get him out of his slump. Of course, it didn't work, but it's not like we're some, I don't know, like Yankee fans aren't monsters. Like they do have a little bit of heart in them. I think we saw that last night, and I'm cool with that, bro. Especially at this point, dude. All guards are off. Like we're 5 games under. Like you're kind of just.
That's what I'm saying, but that's why I'm acknowledging, like, who cares? Who cares that Luis Severino? The season's over,
Hey,
right?
but it was a packed
It's like
house,
that.
bro.
Yeah, but I think that's also crazy too. Like a packed house on a Wednesday night against the Washington Nationals when the season's over.
That
It's
is
confusing
nuts.
to me,
I don't
bro.
understand why so many people have showed up to the ballpark. I would absolutely have cheered my ass off for Sen because I like him. He's not an unlikable Yankee for me. It's just an incredibly disappointing Yankee, which doesn't always lead to me wanting to boo somebody.
Yeah, but
I'm
it
weird
doesn't
with
make me
booing.
want to cheer somebody. No, I
I
very
think that's
rarely boo
fair.
people, but
I understand not wanting to, like, the standing O part.
like,
I
bro,
could
I
see why you think
genuinely
that's a
like.
little excessive.
I'm trying to imagine myself in the stadium on Wednesday night. The Yankees are currently on, what were they on, a 9-game losing streak, like 0.1% chance of making the playoffs. I can't imagine myself sitting there and like getting all hyped and pumped up and
Well, I
being
think
like,
you should stop it
"Oh
right
yeah."
there. You can't imagine yourself sitting there. I think that's the thing. But imagine yourself in the ballpark, though. You just seen Judge
No,
hit
but I
two
can't
homers at that point.
imagine but I can't imagine like even if I was there. I'm saying if I was, I couldn't imagine like being so invested in the game.
I could, because then at that point, why would you even go? Like, if you're not willing to cheer for some things, and once again, they saw 2 Judge homers at that point with a grand slam. Stanton, the play before that, just made a nice catch, and
But it
Sevy
means
was howling
nothing.
about that. Yeah, of course. But I mean, listen, that's why you don't go to the game, I think. But if you're there, I expect you to cheer.
I think that's just like a problem I'm facing right now. And I like it. I tweeted this out on Wednesday too. Like it sucks that the Yankees being good means absolutely nothing. It's like I can't get excited over it. The Judge having his first 3 home run game was cool, but it's not something I can necessarily get excited over, and I can't even really appreciate the greatness that we're seeing from Aaron Judge as of late, because to me it means absolutely nothing because the Yankees, it's a lost season.
That's a fine take to have, I think. And once again, for me, it's just I know how much Sevy wants to win, and like I know this is killing him, and he's been really hard on himself. So the fact that he has a good start, I'm happy for him. I think the Judge hitting 3 homers, if someone were to say that kind of means nothing to him, I would get that because you already know what Judge is. That's one of the things that we're sure of going into 24. Same with Cole and maybe a couple other things. Now I'm really more so looking towards like Stanton, for example, breath of fresh air when he had a 4-hit game, crushing the ball. I think they were all like over 110 miles an hour, all 4 hits or something like that. He hit a home run. That's something I can take and be like, okay, I need to see this because you know he's a piece going into 24. Same with DJ LeMahieu. DJ's been hitting real well since the All-Star break. I have the stats here. He's since the All-Star break, batting 293, a 407 OBP, 811 OPS. He's probably going to be a staple going into next year in some regards. So the fact that he's hitting, I can take that and be like, yo, this we kind of need to see because it could determine next year. Those are the pieces I think we really should be paying attention to. As for Sevy, it's just for me at least, it's a nice moment I can chalk on and be like, yo, that was, I don't want to call it special because it wasn't special, but it was nice. That's what it was. It was a nice
classic
moment.
That's what it was.
I was thinking, bro, actually last night after the Judge 3-homer game, if Yes would ever run that as like a
no way.
Well, they'll do Yankee classics the way they'll have the actual old timey games, which they just do repeats all of a sudden now. It's like 78 game 163. You'll have some 90s games, and then maybe you'll have, I don't know, like the game after the boss died against Tampa Bay in 2010. Those are usually the ones they air for Yankee classics. But at the end of the seasons, they'll usually do like best moments of the year or like best games of the year. Like they did when Judge hit 60 in the Stanton Grand Slam against Pittsburgh last year. But you can't possibly run like any game from this year, right, as a Yankees classic, or like a Yankees rewind. Like I know there's been good games. I'm not saying there hasn't been, but like you got to put this year in the fucking trash and move the hell on. You know what I mean? Like there's no reminiscing of any, even the good moments, like a Judge 3-homer game, or even like remember when like, they made our mom through a perfect game this year? Do you remember that?
Yeah,
like
it's weird.
Like is that? I mean, I guess it's a Yankees classic, but like I ain't watching that.
Neither am I, actually.
You know,
but the last thing I do want to pull up from the National Series was, I forget when it was. I think it was on Thursday afternoon, and Kyle Higashioka made an out at third base. Just one of those typical things, like the ball was hit in front of him, he runs to third, and I'm not a huge Michael K guy, but his call of that play, I'm pretty sure you posted it, was hysterical, bro. He said something along the lines of, and in typical Yankees fashion, he gets thrown out of third, just much of the same. And bro, it was actually kind of funny because it wasn't like it was pretty authentic coming from K.
It was fun. Here, let me just, I have it right here. I'll play it through the thing. This was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Ground ball to short. They do it again. That same mistake over and over. 2-way.
Bro, it's hilarious too, because like he's literally like the call you could tell when like by no means is it pre-planned at all, but he knows what's gonna happen. Ground ball on the left side, Yank's gonna run on contact. It was a part of his like muscle memory in a way that they would do that. So it was great call by K.
I mean, going back, kind of relating it back to topic number 1 real quick, like, can we say, because stuff like that is something that we've seen tremendously this season, and I guess it's escalated over the past couple years. Stuff like that, I can't put the blame on Boone for. I definitely can.
100%.
And I think if you want to put blame on Boone for something, it definitely is kind of like that lackadaisical, kind of like just lack of fundamentals among the baseball team. And while the roster construction isn't necessarily him, stuff like that is 1,000%. I'm placing it on him.
Yeah, 100%. Let me get this clear. Like, I by no means think Boone's a perfect manager, and I'll even admit, like, I'm sure he's. If you were to say he's cost the Yankees a couple wins this year, I could forgive it. And I might say, yeah, you might be right on that. No, by the way, every fan base would say that about their manager, just the way things work. But my point is that he's not the problem. He's not why the Yankees are at the cellar of the AL East right now. And even if things went well, quote unquote, he's not why, in my opinion, why this team wasn't going to win the World Series. That falls on the players. And who brought the players in? That's Brian Cashman. Like, Boone isn't perfect, and he may, yes, have cost him a couple wins, but he's not why we're at where we're at. He's a much smaller piece of a huge problem. I think it's overall just like it's just like, if I have a problem with Boone, it's more so just the vibes of everything since he came in. And I don't think I think it's more of a coincidence. Like, I don't think it's because Boone's brought in that the Yankees have had this lackadaisical lack of a desire to win vibe since 2018. I think that's just the direction the organization has taken, and Boone happens to be the poster child for that.
Yeah.
Which are all unacceptable things.
You want to get in topic number 5?
Yeah, word. Let's do this quick, then I got to do some baseball today.
Yeah. So basically, Shohei Ohtani has a torn UCL in his pitching arm, which is absolutely terrible news for Major League Baseball. We were talking about him on episode 100 and kind of just what to expect in the offseason from him. He's the face of Major League Baseball, even though he is signed to New Balance. And he's shut down from pitching this season, but as far as I'm concerned, he's still going to be batting, which is, I mean, cool, I guess. Good for him.
Yeah.
But his pitching career looks like it could definitely be at risk. Because let's say if he does get that UCL repaired, it looks like he's probably going to have to stop pitching for, I don't know, until like 2026. Is that an accurate statement? But
well, he's definitely out for next year for sure.
Yeah, but regardless, I mean, he's a free agent at the end of the season. We were looking at a guy who was going to hit the free agent market with the expectations of having by far one of the biggest contracts in Major League Baseball history. Now that he's going to be entering the free agent market kind of just as a hitter, I think he definitely lost out on probably a few $100 million. Like he was probably looking at 600 plus before. Now I think he'll still probably see the number 4, but I can't see it higher than that.
I think if you're negotiating with Ohtani and you're trying to get the lowest deal possible, which obviously is what you're trying to do, I think you start at what Judge's figure was first, because if there's one comp to Judge as a hitter, it's Ohtani at 360. Now, of course, he doesn't play the field. Right? He's let me check his age. I believe he's probably like 29. Let's see. When Judge was 30 going into his 31 season, Ohtani is, how old is this motherfucker? Yeah, 29. What was I gonna say? So you probably start in like the 360 area, just talking about him as a hitter, although doesn't have the defense of Judge. The pitching, though, man, second Tommy John, like it's not a guarantee he comes back and is the same guy. So what are you really banking on getting out of him? I think it's such a concern that the money probably, has gone down a couple $100 million, which gets more teams in the race. I think he might, like, he's not going to break 500 anymore, I don't think. And they brought an interesting thing up on Baseball Today. He might be shooting for like a short-term deal, or even if it is long-term, but an opt-out after like year 1 or 2, because he's going to now have to prove that he can still pitch. And it brings up the question, dude, is this shit even possible to do? I mean, of course, we've seen him do it, like technically 2 full years, 2021, or 3 full years of being like dominant, crazy, 21 to 23 this year. But like, this is now a second Tommy John. Like, can the body sustain doing something like this? Which was a question people were asking him, like, heading into the offseason before he even got hurt. And now, and it's interesting because it actually makes me think the Yankees may have a better chance now, because that number is lower. And it's almost like the Yankees probably, like, they see something that's a project, their eyes get all fucking, not that Ohtani's a project by any means, but I just feel like there's more of a chance the Yankees sign him now because the market's lower, and you might be able to get him for a better value because that number's lower with the potential upside. Hell, maybe he does return to form, but Ohtani's probably smart enough to have an opt-out in the year, like after year 1 or 2. Because if you can get, like, say you sign him to whatever the deal is, you have him for, he plays next year as a hitter but can't pitch. And then let's say, just for easy argument's sake, returns in 2025. He may want to have an opt-out after 2025 because you can have a full year of proving that he's as good of a pitcher as he used to be. Then, all right, word, like you're in for a big-ass bag again. But, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think the main question that I have with this now, and I agree that it definitely puts the Yankees a little bit more in the market for him, and I think they would be dumb if they didn't pursue, just because now it's like, it's kind of like a Stanton thing where he's almost falling into your lap with the price dropping so much lower than it originally was. But I'm intrigued to see now, if he's not going to pitch, if there's a chance we see Ohtani back in the field. Because when he first came over, I'm pretty sure we saw him in the outfield a little bit. And I'm intrigued to see.
He wouldn't be able to throw, though. That's the thing. Now,
unless they throw him at first base.
True. No, I mean, they could take, but at that point, if a team is vested into him long term, you probably would just want to DH him.
But isn't that crazy, though, thinking like a team's going to give a DH $400 million?
It's stupid. And it makes you even think, bro, before all this, like, a team would have been crazy regardless. Forget this whole injury. Even, like, when he's technically healthy, to give him a $600 million deal. Because it's going to blow up in your face, I feel like, in one way, shape, or form. Even if he doesn't have another big major injury, how long can he effectively do this? You know what I mean? Like, it's not even just a matter of, will his elbow blow up again? It's like, can anybody for a long period of time, let's say over a 10-year deal, I mean, what are you hoping for? Maybe 5 years that he can do both effectively? And then at one point, he's probably going to turn into just a hitter. There's also the talk of he could Tanaka it. I mean, it is a partial tear, so if he wants to rehab it, which that's the whole thing. He's hitting until he decides what he wants to do, what he wants to do.
Definitely make teams nervous.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the Yankees for
Tanaka
years
was already under contract when that happened. So.
Right, yeah, and like the vibes around Tanaka, I mean, it ended up working out quite well, but like everybody always felt, at least within the Yankees, that he was a ticking time bomb. Like the stress you'll have on Ohtani, bro, if he's pitching with a partially torn UCL and you're paying him $50 million a year. I was about to say I'm all right, but I'm not all right. Like I would take the gamble, but I understand why a team like wouldn't want to now.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yo, good ass show today, man. That was a good time. Kind of crisp and efficient today. Like I don't want to say it's vintage Yanks have 25 minutes, but we were probably in the 45-ish.
Yeah,
right.
Under 45 probably.
I miss seeing you in person, dude. We're gonna do it again, bro.
No, like, it's something we're gonna do more often because it just I don't get me wrong. I love this show, and I love the way we do it, but having us do it in person, it brings up the level by 1,000, and I think we're just really able to showcase our skills and chemistry on just such a greater level. And this is something that I have been saying a lot recently, and I've even been throwing it out on social media, and I said it last episode. Dan, I feel like you think I'm joking when I say this. By the end of 2023, we are going to have an in-person episode with Alex Rodriguez. I'm going to keep speaking it into existence, and it's going to freaking happen. So just wait on that.
I mean, dude, like I said, if you can get us to be cool again, like I'm down. You know, I'm not against having it run on the show. So I'm like,
well, I would hope not.
Yeah, like I'm down. Like, you know, I'm down. So bet. All right, well, I'll take Pat's word for it. I gotta get out of here. Doing a little late night baseball today recording, premature for Friday.
Can I watch?
It's not gonna be live, but you can check it on the JM Baseball YouTube channel at 11 a.m. tomorrow, by all means. Socials, where can they find you, Pat?
TikTok, Twitter, @UnhingedPatrick, Instagram @True Hennessy.
True Hennessy. All right. Dan on Rourke on Instagram. Dan on Rourke on Twitter. I have been tweeting the last few days, bro. I have been tweeting a little bit. Yankees Avenue on Instagram, Yankees Avenue on TikTok. Pat's always doing a killer job with that. And shout out to Alana as well.
Huge shout out, yeah.
And Yankees Avenue Show on Twitter. Give us a follow. All like updates for the show are pretty much on there. Like a time change or whatever the hell.
Yeah, when Dan's like, oh no, I'm running 3 hours late. The episode won't be up until 3
No, it's not 3 hours late, bro. It's usually like if an episode I wanted to come out at 10, there might be a time it comes out at 10:30 or 11. But blame it on McDonald's Wi-Fi or blame it on my parents' Wi-Fi for being so bad that I have to rely on McDonald's Wi-Fi. But with that said, guess what? Verizon is coming Saturday morning, 8 to 10 o'clock in that window. So, yo, my picture might be looking real crisp and clean next time we're doing the show. What's up?
And also, one last shout out I do want to give is episode 100 was awesome. And I want to give a huge shout out to Dan because it was a massive edit. We had 3 different camera angles. It was an hour-and-a-half episode. Dan literally ran home, edited the entire thing, bro. Huge shout out to you for that.
I love you, dude. Thank you. No, it was a blast, bro. It really, really was. And it was like, I mean, I always love editing this show. It's one of my favorite things to do about it. But like, bro, talk about just fuel to keep on going. Because it was a long show. It was the longest show ever. It was like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But just like how fucking good it looked. And that's a big shout out to guys over at Game Day.
Yeah, shout out to
and you guys commented it too. Like the audio was so crisp. And like obviously the cameras look good, having multiple shots. It was we'll be back. I say at least for like, bro, end of the regular season. We'll be back in like maybe September or some shit. All right, yo, I gotta get out of here. We'll see you guys next time. Who are we playing, by the way? We're going to the Trop. We have a Trop.
Great. Perfect.
Yeah, so 3 games set of the Trop. I actually might Friday night, the day this comes out. I was thinking, let me know if this is too casual of me, but I might go to Somerset. Go not to the Trop, but I might go to Somerset to see Drew Thorpe pitch. Guy we were talking about before. So
cool.
That would involve
me, the first pitch.
That would involve me having to hire a Yanks intern and missing the game, but hell, we're fucking 61-66. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Let's go Yankees.
Her body's going like September. She burns through the night like an ember. And all those things we try forgetting.